Welcome to Plugged In Tech. I've been using these Astro A50s for about 2 years now. And even though this exact model doesn't even sell anymore, they might still be the best gaming headset I've ever owned. These things literally made Warzone feel like I had wall hacks on. I was hearing footsteps my friends couldn't even hear. In this video, I'm going to break down what they're like long term, the pros, the cons, the firmware headaches, and even if they're still worth the price in 2025. When you first take them out the box, you get a headset, the charging station that you plug into the PC or console, and an optical cable. There are also a few extra ports and switches you can use if you want better voice setup or different audio options. But as soon as you get the Astro A50s, the very first thing you need to do is plug them in and download the Astro Command Center. Once you download that, you plug in your A50s, sync them up, and make sure you're on the newest firmware so everything works properly. The air cushions come already attached, but they're magnetic, so you can pop them right off. You can see on mine that over time, the magnet started to come loose a bit. But to be fair, I really use and abuse these bad boys. I'm not an audio engineer or anything, so I don't mess with every single setting. The Command Center gives you EQ presets, gaming voice mix, and all that, plus your power button and basic controls. I mostly use it for game voice balance and a good Call of Duty preset. Speaking of Call of Duty, when I first got these, I watched a streamer and copied what they said was the best Astro A50 settings for Call of Duty. Once I dialed those in, it was crazy. I was playing Call of Duty and Warzone with my friends, and there were things they couldn't hear at all that I could hear clearly. I could hear people outside the building walking on grass. I could hear footsteps on the first floor when I was upstairs. I could hear if someone was in the building next door just from different sounds. At first, it takes a minute for you to realize what you're hearing. But once you start recognizing, okay, that's grass, that's wood, that's metal, your awareness in game just goes to another level. These became my go-to headsets for Warzone and pretty much all my gaming. All right, let's get into the pros. One thing I absolutely love is the flip to mute mic. You just slide the headset mic all the way up and it mutes automatically. You don't have to fumble for a button or take the headset off, which always got on my nerves with other headsets. The wireless range is really good too. There were times I'll walk around the house and I could still hear my party and talk to them with no issue. They also charge pretty quickly. I put my PS5 in rest mode and just leave the headset on the dock or plug it in with the cable, and it tops off fast enough that I never really worry about battery. Another thing I like is that you can tune the audio in the Astro A50 Command Center so you hear what you really want to hear. Footsteps, voices, explosions, whatever you want to bring out more, you can. It works for pretty much any type of game. When you talk, you sound crisp. And overall, the sound quality is just really solid. Good mic quality, good audio quality, and very comfortable for long sessions. I also really like the auto power feature. When you set the headset down, it turns off, so you're not constantly draining battery. Then when you pick it back up and put it on, it wakes back up and you're ready to go again. I love that. If this is helping you out so far, do me a favor and hit that like button. It really helps out the channel. Now, let's talk about the cons, because it's not perfect. On this model, the first issue I had was with the top head pad. The adhesive that holds that pad to the top of the headband started coming off, so I ended up having to super glue it back on. Not something you really want to do on a higher end headset. Second thing, there's this one screw that always seems to get loose. I've had tighten it multiple times, and a couple times I almost lost it completely. It's a small thing, but it's annoying when it keeps happening. The biggest problem I ran into though was with the firmware. When I first got the headset, I didn't update the firmware for like a year. Eventually, they basically stopped working the way they should. The Astro Command Center kept trying to update them, but it would fail over and over. I went online, checked out some YouTube videos, and here's what finally fixed it. First, I reset the headset. Then I downloaded an older version of the Astro Command Center that you can still find online. I plugged the A50s into a different laptop. I used my fiance's MacBook, installed the Command Center there, and when I plugged the headset in, it finally showed upgrade now instead of failing. Once I hit upgrade and it completed, everything started working again. Before that, it just kept failing the firmware update. So if your Astro A50s keep asking to update the firmware and it fails every time, try an older version of the Command Center, and if you can, a different laptop. Once I did that, they've been great ever since. All around, even with those issues, these are still my favorite headset. I use them every day when I'm gaming. The sound, the comfort, the wireless range, the flip to mute mic, and the way they level up your awareness in FPS games, I definitely see why they're priced the way they are. For me, they are absolutely worth it. If this video helps you decide whether the Astro A50s are for you, drop a like in the video. And if you want more honest long-term reviews from a regular gamer, not some sponsor ad, subscribe to the Plugged In Tech so you don't miss the next one.